Hey peeps, it's Tripl-L, and today I'm here to talk to you about Boku no Hero Academia, or My Hero Academia, Chapter 101, The Girl Named Hatsume Mei. And peeps, what can I tell you about the chapter? Well, actually, it's kind of a comedy chapter. A good portion of the chapter is pretty much centered around the hyping and kind of establishment of Hatsume Mei, a character that we saw earlier in the tournament arc, and also a formal introduction into Power Loader. So they effectively, this duo, or this introduction into this duo, they take up the majority of the chapter, but it's all fun and games. They're all having fun. It's just a lot of comedy moments. We're getting little bits about Hatsume. She's pretty much established as being a genius and being someone special. And especially for Izuku's generation of heroes, she's going to be very important in the future. And Power Loader is the one who's doing the majority of the hyping for this character and saying that she really is worth a lot. So for that whole first half of the chapter, I thought it was fun. I thought it was fine to have it lighthearted. I thought it's cool that the guys are trying to figure out what to do. And I very much love the perspective that Mei brings into things. Like her ideology with Ida telling him that if he needs to cool off his legs, just run with his arms. It's this kind of out of the box thinking, and I very much enjoy seeing that with her. Now, in terms of comedy elements, I'm actually very surprised that Ochiko did not react to the whole boob issue from last week. So the whole thing with Ochiko kind of just flatlined. She wasn't used for the comedy. All the comedy was really centered around Mei and just her interactions with other characters, and that was nice. It was overall nice. It was cool to see Deku in a full bodysuit and see his back almost get broken, and overall I'm pretty excited to see what Mei can come up with. The second half of the chapter is pretty much just an update on the rest of the heroes. We see that Kaminari did go and talk to Mei, and maybe he's going to get a lightning sword. We saw Mineta working on a bead of his grapes, and we saw just general improvements from everyone. Todoroki had some weird thing going on with his arms. Maybe he's trying to make like some kind of armor, maybe that'd be cool. And we also got to see Bakugo going all out and pretty much focusing his shots. And we got to see Tokoyami, who's arguably the most impressive of all of them, because his quirk, he's using it as a kind of exoskeleton. And I think it's appropriate that he is also the person on the cover page, just because this is a pretty cool looking power. And like always, Todoroki has an interesting naming sense. I think keeping it as Abyss Body would work just as well as Tenebrous. I hope I pronounced it right. Abyss Body. But anyway, it was cool to see the general improvement of all the characters that were showcased in this chapter. And now let's actually talk about the biggest draw in this chapter, and that's Izuku's new fighting style. With Bakugo attacking that pillar and it falling on All Might, Izuku had a chance to go in there and save his idol, and he did it with a kick. Full cowl shoot style. So how do I feel about this? Well, actually, it's super strength, right? There's very limited things you can do with super strength. It's really about how you kind of apply it, and seeing Deku use kicks, I heard that a lot of people were kind of predicting this, and you know what? I think it's cool. The legs are technically supposed to be stronger than the arms just because they're almost always in use and they're more stable. So I could see Deku being capable of doing more incredible things with the kicks. And seeing all the gear that he has for support, he has some new arm pieces for support, he has some new leg pieces for support. I think it looks really sleek. Overall, the design of everything looks pretty cool, and that shot of him on the last page, his face looks kind of different, so it gives off this really sleek kind of look. But let's actually talk about Deku and where his fighting style might develop. And this is what I've been thinking about just reading the chapter. Deku's helmet or mask has those ears, right? And the ears always remind me of kind of a rabbit. And when Deku was going through his mind trying to figure out what can he do to make a special move, one of the shots that he had, along with other shots of smashes, it's just smashes. If you look at the panels where he's thinking about it, there's a lot of panels of him just thinking of smashes, and then there's panels of Bakugo. Deku's the kind of person who I think grows by watching the people around him. And we know that he's copied Bakugo's moves before. Bakugo in particular, I think, is a very good reference point for him. And this is where I'm going to connect it back with the whole rabbit thing. A rabbit is known for jumping around. That's pretty much what a person would think if they think rabbit. So I think that Deku has everything in place to have this kind of motif where he ends up being a more agile hero, where he uses his super strength to just dart around the area. Because seeing that he's actually thinking about Bakugo when he's trying to come up with new moves, Bakugo has demonstrated that he has really good control, like 360 degrees of control. He's pretty good mid-air. Like this guy, he will use his explosions to propel himself and move however he needs to move. And if Izuku could replicate that kind of movement, think Gran Torino. Gran Torino, another person who's also taught Izuku, kind of works on, you know, jumping around the whole area. Really, it's all about area control. He's jumping around, he's getting behind the opponent, and I think this kind of style would really work with Izuku, especially because you have All Might, who is effectively just straight up in the face. He's gonna punch you, where Izuku could just jump around and try to get this kind of tactical advantage to try and defeat his opponents while also using super strength. I think that would be a very cool way of having Izuku differentiated from All Might, because at the end of the day, it's super strength. It's how they're going to use it that's going to really set apart what they are as heroes. And so, like I'm saying, Izuku has everything set up in his design. He has that possible rabbit motif that could go with him jumping around and maybe taking control of an area and striking enemies as they, you know, lose track of him. And I think that's why it's called shoot style, because he's really aiming at this person and aiming at their weaknesses or like just their unguarded points. And then when you look at Izuku's particular characteristics, how he's always observing people, it makes sense that he would observe his classmates and try and incorporate their kind of styles into his. Even in this, we had him, you know, asking Ida for help, because Ida specializes in kicks. So I think this is a really good way to take Izuku's power development. I would really love to see him fully embrace this kind of idea of area control, just jumping everywhere, making sure he continues having control of the space he's in, and I think it would just give him a pretty good advantage. Overall, I do very much enjoy this chapter. I think, you know what, I really liked it just because Izuku's potential in this is going to be pretty interesting to see, and it's pretty cool to see All Might's approval of all of this. Let's see, is there anything else I want to talk about? No, I think that'll be it for me. Peeps, let me know what you think about Izuku's kind of new style, and let me know if I missed anything this chapter. Was there anything that you wanted me to speak about? Let me know down in the comments below, and until next time, have a good day.